FD would not be around if D1 committed further to working with Ryan and Jim. But thankfully they did, otherwise FD wouldn't be around.
Welcome back to the Circle of Drift podcast presented by SimHQ, where we interview some of the most interesting personalities within the industry. My name is Dawson, and today we are at Grid Life here at Gingerman for Midwest Fest, and we've got Jarod DeAnda.
So analogously, it's like, cool, you want to either chastise or criticize me for saying something incorrect. When was the last time you had a perfect run?
Oh, yeah.
I would like a driver as a technical announcer, not taking anything away from Jacob, but I'd love to have Chris Forsberg in the booth. Not taking my job. I'll fight you. I'll fight you. Look at, I fought now 3 times. Access to entry and drifting is 3 years to be in the best series in the world. You could build a car, go into Pro-Am, get your license, go into Pro Spec, and then in the 3rd year you could be in Pro.
All of that and along with so much more here on this show, so make sure you look below the video and the subscribe button is pressed. And without further ado, let's get into the episode.
I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era.
Well, we are here with a new face of the podcast, Jarod DeAnda. I'm sure most of you guys know, voice of FD and all sorts of events at this point now, right?
Yeah, man. Been announcing for 22 years. So now, yeah, our 2025 season is our 22nd season of Formula Drift, so that all equates to me announcing for 21 plus years.
My God.
Yeah.
How does
do you feel old or young, or you're like, holy cow?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty young. I'm just getting into the sport.
Yeah.
Technically. I mean,
well, you do a good job, man. First and foremost, thanks for doing this. Thanks for having me on. Circle of Drift, when it started, I think it caught a lot of flack. Your co-host seemed like a nice guy. Maybe there's some polarizing things being said that maybe triggered us about certain things. When I say us, meaning like those that are in drifting, but just because you make noise, just because you're the loudest doesn't mean you're most important, right? And just because there's silence, don't confuse kindness for weakness, and don't confuse quietness for not caring. You know what I'm saying? So there's a responsibility and an opportunity and a level of respect that I think just because you don't make a lot of noise doesn't mean you're not listening. So when I see things that, either bothered by either me personally or a lot of my friends or something I'm invested into emotionally or monetarily that affects my paycheck, I take note. that's me personally.
No, I
you know
totally
what I mean?
get it.
So,
yeah.
But Circle of Drift, as your brand, your podcast has progressed, I enjoy it because it is just that. It's perspective, and you as an enthusiast, either a veteran or a day one, all of those things need to exist, and that's even my responsibility as far as edutainment. My responsibility and whatever co-host or whatever series I'm doing, if it is Formula Drift, X Games, Nitro Cross, hosting content, my responsibility is to entertain, educate, so edutainment. So, taking all that into consideration is, we have responsibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At what point in your career doing this did you learn that? Like, did you actually grasp the concept of it?
Yeah, I would say fairly early on, because once you have a microphone or because here we are, we're influencers or content creators, or people can create, they have their own platform, their own canvas, right? When I have somebody else's, keep my name out your mouth. When I have somebody else's name in my mouth, need to give the respect it deserves. Car, sponsors, perspective, the team, kind of the unsung heroes, I've over the years, you get correction as one does. If somebody says something incorrect, the best of the best. If it's an announcer, presenter, or if it's golf, if it's it could be curling, could be darts, could be anything, dude. I mean, it could be cornhole. You have. There's professional cornhole players, right? So I say all that because I learned it because, like I said, I have people's names in my mouth. There's an opportunity and a level of respect that I need to give those driver sponsors, people, and ancillary things. As far as timeline of learning it, fairly early on. I never wanted to be an announcer, but 2004 is when we kicked this thing off at Road Atlanta, and here we are, 2025. So it's pretty crazy, but you'd get auto-corrected, and people would say like, oh, you did this or you did that. I said, man, 100-point perfect run. How many of those do you see?
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So analogously, it's like, cool, you want to either chastise or criticize me for saying something incorrect. When was the last time you had a perfect run?
Oh yeah, that's very true.
So, you know.
And I personally, I've always appreciated your perspective because, like, I'm sure most general people don't understand is you get majority of the flack that comes through FD just because you are the voice of it.
Right.
So, and like you said, that actually happened through the podcast, which, again, I want to apologize for.
Oh, I don't think you ever...
I never mean for that stuff to happen.
I don't think you ever said anything to offend me. It's just collectively, when you have an opinion, you have to back it up, right? So if you have an opinion, you have to give it some sort of backbone and give it support to support that said thing. If it's just, you know, oh, I don't like that guy. Why? Well, I don't know. I just don't like him. That's even fair. But stand your ground. You know, you see like, you know, I golf a lot. Obviously, if you follow me on Instagram, I golf a lot. And these dudes invited these, let's call it what it is, you know, shit talkers, to go play golf. And this one dude backed it up. And he played well, and he backed it up. Yeah, I just don't like you guys. Like, whatever. But owned it. Wasn't like, oh, nice to meet you. Like, don't be a troll. Because at the end of the day, too, like, it doesn't matter what you do. You have trolls, dude. And you have people that, my buddy Rob, shout out to Rob Jennings. You know, I educate him on, he's in education, into recruiting educators, all this stuff. So he's not in this automotive world. And he's been out to Grid Life a few times, and he's been at Formula Drift. And he says, you have haters? I said, oh yeah, of course. Don't we all, right? You have people, and he had something that I always think is funny. Is haters are fans in denial.
Oh.
You know, because at the end of the day, if they're talking about you, it means you're doing something. And they might not like it. And that's, you know, my 11-year-old son. He has a bully, but that bully, come to find out, you know, has had home issues, has you know, CPS, the parents aren't there. That kid just needs a hug. That's all he needs. So, you know, let's emulsify that. And now you're a grown kid who's 20 years old, 30 years old, 40, 50, 60 years old. You're still a kid. Because all you really need is a hug. You just need a hug. You need somebody to love. Or you hate him because you ain't him because maybe I'm doing something or a driver's doing something in particular. Think about it. And we're all guilty of that. It's like, man, you're like, but he's living a damn good life. I might not like the way he's doing it, but he's doing it unapologetically. You know, make mistakes and chalk it up as education.
Absolutely. Do you ever think, like, that those scenarios dictate what you have to say on the live streams and stuff, or does that even cross your mind when you're speaking? Great
question. Fortunately, Ryan Sage lets me cook, you know, over the last 21 plus years. And now Jacob, you know, he's a great addition to the Formula Drift family. You know, he lived in the media trenches, Canadian, you know, worked with different people and drivers and programs, more like the media technology side, which is great. You know, over the last couple of years, here's Jacob doing his thing. Over 21 plus years, I wouldn't say I get corrected that much by my boss, who signs my checks, Ryan Sage and Jim Lau, which obviously his role has shifted. He's still a co-founder, of course. No, I really get creative control because I think Ryan sees where I'm at. As far as my role in Formula Drift, Ryan would call it color. I'd say I'm host announcer, so I'm the big, high and wide, know enough about the sport. I would like a driver as a technical announcer. Not taking anything away from Jacob, but I'd love to have Chris Forsberg in the booth. Chris and I, like, you know, if Chris hung up his helmet, ran a team, maybe he wasn't driving, what about Chris in the booth?
Why do you think that would gain a better perspective?
He's driving, you know, I mean, he's a driver. He knows car setup. Like, I don't know technical car setup. I mean, even I can't, like, Kevin being technical director, Kevin Wells, who, you know, facilitates rule book and it, you know, basically execution of said rule book. Kevin isn't a great speaker. You know, I mean, Kevin's Corner is great, but that's just kind of very voyeur. I think Forsberg would be great in the booth. Or, again, said driver. Could be Reese Millen, could be Tanner Faust, obviously. I announced Pikes Peak with Tanner Faust. He's great. Yeah, so to answer the original question, I don't feel corrected by Ryan. He lets me cook. I obviously know the responsibility of activations and sponsorships, and giving the drivers the respect they deserve. And it is tough because even the judges, you know, they get so chastised, and I support them, and it's really hard to elaborate on something that at the core of drifting. It's an emotional thing. It's an experience. So you have Drift Appalachia, which Brian Eggert and Reese Marin are behind. You know, they do that event. And Matt Field didn't even know that. I talked to Brian Eggert.
What?
Brian Eggert most recently. at Orlando, and he was saying that Matt didn't have any idea he was doing Appalachia. There goes Greg Bussell, Cora Works. So yeah, I mean, again, you can give me a microphone, I'll talk to a wall, but I think with what you're trying to do here is educate people, get into the core of it, and you do a good job of, touching on the emotions of drivers and where they're at and where they aspire to be. Because if you look at some of the drivers, if it's Pro-Am, Pro Spec, Pro, they either, right? I mean, they're either comfortable or they're bummed or they have bigger aspirations. Those are the three options, right? Like as far as a driver. So they're either where they're at and they want to go further, or they're where they're at and they're bummed, or they're doing shitty, or they, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think you cut into that emotion of the drivers and different personalities in the drifting world. So good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I try to. I try to just share the story more for, like, there's not much of a place for drivers to really tell who they are other than being that character for the show that they have to be in FD.
Right.
So this also allows for them to, maybe they're not a big enough driver. What's up, Caleb? Maybe they're not a big driver or anything like that, but they come on, they tell their story.
Yeah.
Maybe one day they become the next James Dean or something, and people have something to go back on from his past, and you never know. It's something that I think just adds a different level to it that not just announcing side can do, because you're so focused on other stuff. And
yeah, it's giving somebody that platform. That's what I always talk about, perspective and platforms. FD is a platform for, I mean, if you really look at drifting as a whole, Formula Drift is a platform for you to emulsify whatever career you want. You have 8 rounds, 8 opportunities to get on the podium, but you can ask a lot of the drivers, and I've said it to a lot of them, is basically you win before you show up. The trophy, the carbon, the medal, that is purely like icing on the cake.
Yeah.
It's icing on the cake, dude, because ravenous Von Gittin Jr. fans, James Dean, I tell this to Nate, like I've seen Nate grow up before my eyes, XDC back in the day, then FD, and then bouncing around, doing this, doing that. Now he's a father. Like, I officiated his wedding, and again, I've officiated a lot of these dudes' weddings. But seeing people grow up is amazing. But you got to win before you show up, because those fans will be ravenous for you because they like your brand, they like your style. It's skateboarding, it's music. Like they invest. Oh, dude, I've been listening to Nate Hamilton since, dude, his XDC days. Think about it, right? Oh, dude, I remember when Vaughn drove an S chassis before he drove a Mustang. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you don't even know Vaughn. I knew him before he was on Ford.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. So that's where I say that again. Just invest. And
do you find that it's important to build a relationship with all these drivers since you are the announcer?
Yeah. I mean, I have degrees, and full transparency, I have degrees of relationships with each driver. They can't. My buddy Keith Sarlos and I have a podcast called "You're the Beast," and the reason we say "You're the Beast" is because everybody's like, "Dude, oh, you're the best. Dude, you're the best. Dude, you're the best. You're the best." If everybody, I call it the Jimmy Fallon effect. So if you ever watch Jimmy Fallon, he always does it. He just goes, and again, I love Jimmy Fallon. Does a great job. He's not the best because he says, "You're the best. Oh, we love you. You're the best." Says it to everybody that walks through the door. So if everybody's the best, nobody's the best. So you're the beast. So that's what we say to each other. You're the beast.
That's pretty cool.
So that's our podcast. You're the beast. So when I say the relationship thing, as far as degrees of relationships, obviously Chris Forsberg is one of my best friends. I've grown up with him. Like I'm older. I'm the senior out of all these guys, except of course Reese, Sam. But they're we're still friends and all that stuff. But we don't hang out all the time. But see him, yeah, it's cool. Relationships, engaging with people. Life is about relationships. Degrees of relationships, okay. You have strangers that know your name, right? You have acquaintances. You have friends. You have good friends. You have great friends. You have best friends. You have family. You have best friends that are practically family, right? No blood share, but so the degrees of relationships should be celebrated, should be acknowledged. You don't need to know everything about everybody, and as long as they want to surrender that too, because sometimes they don't. How much of that humanitarianism do you put into that? It's really up to them, what they want to kind of surrender to the world. And you can kind of tell that, if you watch a stick and ball sport, and you'll see some that are a little more emotional or more public, if it's Steph Curry with basketball, If it's somebody like Ohtani who gets outed of gambling, who's one of the best baseball players ever, I mean, I just say that because there's degrees of relationships and degrees of friendship. But it's just like I always joke. I'm like, yeah, I got 2 kids. I love them both. Obviously, I have one that's favorite. I'm not going to tell you which one, but I joke. but the FD and the paddock and the grid, they're all friends. But how we harbor those relationships is up to me and them. And as far as follow through and announcing, it's up to them to really kind of like channel that. Do I go around the paddock asking State of the Union? No. Am I all seeing? Yeah. I see it.
I'm sure the better the relationship, the more it affects like the way you speak of them on the live stream. So, do you find that most drivers that don't try to include themselves in that stuff and make those relationships tend to fall short in the long run?
I don't think so. I think it's part of their brand. It's part of their being.
Okay.
Some are there to focus, fixate, win. Some are there to build a brand, right? So those that either channel that energy and want to really perpetuate their stoke and their brand is totally up to them. Those that don't do it, I don't think it tarnishes or degrades their brand or anything like that. No, and again, I'm open door. We have a Discord now this year that's like, hey, any info you got? And I'm a grandpa. I'm like, Jacob, show me how to do this thing. And he's like, nobody's even using it. I was like, okay, cool, just making sure. So, and that's the whole thing with FD is Formula Drift and drifting as a whole, but Formula Drift is the premier international drifting sanctioning body. Love what Drift Masters is doing, but the driving pool, the car builds, the tracks are really diverse. I love what Drift Masters is doing. I think we're a great complement. I think we're a good 1-2 European, America. FD Japan has their feel and their vibe, going over there. But yeah, I think that everybody's got their opportunity, man, and it's totally up to them on how they manage it.
3 things that I've noticed since upgrading to a full SimMagic setup. For one, I would have never guessed how many adjustments are actually on this frame, and I can really set it up to be almost identical to my real car. And I would have never guessed the amount of adjustments that you can make to all the pedals and even the handbrake on these things. Although I actually have a weird quick release in your car, but if you have a normal NRG or anything like that, you can take it out of your drift car and put it directly onto the Alpha Mini. On top of that, when your motor blows like mine did, you can always try and, catch up on lost seat time. As well,
You don't have to.
I've seen people no, for real though. Like for Frederick Osbo, when a few years ago, he shows up in a trailer. He's got a canopy for his car to go under. That's it.
Yeah.
Like it was just nothing, and he was still doing everything that every major program was doing at the same time, other than selling all the merch and da-da-da-da. But he was killing it on track. So, and that influenced his career, and now I assume he's doing merch and stuff at this point.
Yeah, he's doing good. And again, everybody has their different degrees. Where I was getting at with the different sanctioning bodies, everybody has a different brand, but also the access to entry and drifting is 3 years to be in the best series in the world, right? So if you think about it, in 3 years, if you build a car, you bang it out in pro. I'm not saying it's realistic, but you can. In 3 years, you could build a car, go into Pro-Am, get your license, go into Pro Spec, and then in the 3rd year you could be in Pro. If you're that good, right? And you look at somebody like, here's Hiro Manoa, 15 years old. Last year, 14 years old, youngest ever to podium. Now youngest ever to win an event. Amanda Sorensen.
Back to back,
now
too.
Here's Cam Sorensen. Got his license up in Colorado. Now he's in Pro Spec. See where that goes. But literally in 3 years, no other motorsport, no other sport can you do that. So the probability of I don't want to say hating, but judgment or just eyeballs on that, impressions. It's like, oh, dude, whatever. Or, dude, just congratulate. Like, just don't hate, congratulate, man. Like, I just, we have such a, here we are, Midwest, beautiful weather, great people, good energy, concerts, vibes. Drifting is just, I'm so proud of where drifting is at. And then on top of that, what Formula Drift has created for, many personalities. Talking to, Jim Farley, who's president of Ford. A couple years ago, I went out to Detroit and debuted the GTD at Detroit Auto Show alongside all the Ford Mustangs, from drag race to the Dark Horse to Le Mans, right? Anyways, when talking to Farley, drifting wasn't a side dish. He was like, yeah, we're going back to the car, we're going to Le Mans, we're going drifting. This is one-on-one. There was like a group of 5 of us, but I'm talking to him. We're doing this, we're doing that, we're drifting. It wasn't like, oh yeah, we're going drifting. It's like, no, we're going drifting. Like he obviously already was, but I'm saying drifting isn't an afterthought. It's on the tip of everybody's tongues, because the amount of impressions, the captive audience, the demographic, the likability, the accessibility, the marketing, the appeal, just all of it's there. If you look at it from, if I had a cell phone company, if I had a non-endemic automotive company, this is such a captive, good audience. Like, we should have cell phone companies, we should have...
And young audience,
and young, that's what I'm saying. Young, susceptible, good, eager, tech savvy, all those things. So, again, I just... Top of mind is always, like, cell phone companies. Everybody's got a damn computer in their pocket. What service provider, what app, what this. And you just got to tell them in the right way. And kids read right through that bullshit. If it's good, bad, or indifferent, they'll chop it up. That's a great focus group. Come to Formula Drift. So I'm really proud of where drifting's at. I'm really proud.
How do you think all of that will attribute to the future of drifting and where it's progressing to, since it is so rapid?
Yeah, respectively speaking, 20, 25 years, drifting's really been around. 25, because you figure, FD 22, D1 a little prior to that, Drift Heaven, obviously, doing some toge shit and some of that equating to drifting. I think the progression is, as Toyota and Ford most notably have embraced drifting, Nissan a little bit with Forsberg. I think that the used car market is a good place. I think we're at a good, manageable amount of rounds with FD, because it gives everybody time to do ancillary stuff. Goodwood Festival of Speed, Grid Life, Hyperfest, all these unique events that, at the end of the day, they're FD drivers, and I remember many moons ago, I'll just say it, Vaughn many moons ago was like, dude, I could do 6 of these events a year, 8 of these events a year, and I'm good. And it was really kind of blowing up Vaughn. And I was like, yeah, but then you're just like a stunt driver. You're not like a Formula Drift driver. Now Vaughn's a 2-time champ, the Carroll Shelby of our generation, helping move the needle for Ford, developing cars in conjunction with technology, aesthetics with Lindsay, all these components. Here's a pro drifter who hung up his IT hat, doing good, and risked it all, and now he's one of the most recognizable, drifters, if not motorsports personalities in the world, and that's thank you to drifting.
Do you think without Formula Drift, it may have not been able to expand to the scale he's at now?
It would have been somebody else if it wasn't for FD. And also, gotcha. and also referencing where Formula Drift is at, that wouldn't have happened if D1 didn't screw FD. D1, because Formula Drift was founded by Ryan Sage and Jim Lau. Previously, they had a company called Slipstream Media. Slipstream Media helped. Thank you, Matt. Love you too. And I would have, and they reached out to D1, said, let's do an event in the States. Or I think, Sun, whatever. The people who did Option Video and D1 and all that stuff, they were like, let's do an event in the States. They did one, 2003, Irwindale. And it was in conjunction with D1 Japan and Slipstream Global. And that was Ryan Sage and Jim Lau. Well, they're like, cool. They did the one. They're like, let's talk about doing a whole series. They said, nah, we're good. And totally pulled the carpet from underneath them. And I'm paraphrasing this. But basically, they pulled the rug from underneath them. And if that didn't happen, Formula Drift wouldn't exist. So
what?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, FD would not be around if D1 committed further to working with Ryan and Jim and their team. But thankfully they did. Otherwise, FD wouldn't be around. So that's why I say, if Formula Drift wasn't around, Wood, Vaughn, and other drivers have the escalation, it would have been another sanctioning body. I'm not saying now FD is the unit of measure for sure. You know, you get all the Irish boys, you get all the, you know, international drivers, you know, I mean, the list goes on and on. It's the most aspirational and the premier international drifting sanction body. That's it. So, yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that was like how it all connected and completely
Yeah.
started FD.
Yeah,
That's
and
crazy.
again, like I might be butchering the story, so again,
Yeah, I'm
fact
sure
checker,
there's more
but,
details and all that stuff
or
in
like
there,
again,
but-
don't know how ill or good or bad or like clean and severed it was, but I know the scenario is they did a joint venture. They did not continue on after 2003, that one-off event. Therefore, Ryan Sage and Jim Lau founded Formula Drift, and they
so
concurrently
incredible.
did that under the Slipstream Global name. Concurrently doing stuff with Mazda. That's why Mazda early on was a sponsor. Circuit City early on was a sponsor because Mazda and Circuit City were in conjunction. So it was great, you know. And like even me, like I was working at McGuire's the first year. I didn't get paid anything. We were 4 rounds, but I brought McGuire's into the fold and, you know, all those kind of things. But here we are.
That's got to be incredible to see from almost day one, or I guess literally day
Yeah,
one.
day one.
To now, man. I mean, just seeing the progression you've been a part of carrying the vast majority of the sport of drifting.
I'm a cog in a machine, man, and the machine is healthy, and you have your weak points, but at the same time, people pick up the slack in other ways, man. I'm
So
just
cool.
a cog in the machine, so I'm proud. I'm very thankful. I'm very grateful, and you know, it's not about me, it's about we, and you know, and I might come off as, you know, one, I'm physically big. So if everybody like comes up and like, gosh, damn, you're bigger than I thought. Yep, I'm big. Hence the name DeAnderthal. You know, I'm a big
I had
dude.
to adjust the camera angle.
Go
Just
wide,
for
go wide and
reference.
big. But admittedly, I thank you, and I just play my role, and I try to do the best job. I know, you know, I always say you shoot for perfect, you settle for good. You know, and
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and you know, because you're gonna even if you paint the most beautiful piece of art, you're still never gonna. It's hard to put that clear coat on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard because you know you can always refine. It's like a project car. It's like a project house. Like I don't have a project car, but our house is kind of our project. We have a mid-century modern house, and always trying to work on that. You know, my body is not a wonderland; it's a garbage pile. So my body is a passport. You know, constantly working on that. So,
Get
yeah,
that?
man. But yeah, I mean, I know the role I play, and I might not be everybody's favorite, but shoot, John Madden. You know, he had a video game series named after him. He's a polarizing character. He never played, but he coached. Or no, did Madden play? I think Madden did play. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. Play my role, man.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I want to speak for a lot of the silent viewers, I'm sure, of FD, because you get a lot of the hate side, but
I don't, though. I don't get a lot of hate.
No, I'm
I
not
got a
saying
little-
that,
okay.
but just the live stream it's a lot of people just complaining about nonsense, and
Yep.
you don't get a lot of the people that actually appreciate. And I just want to say thank you for what you do, not just in FD, but in the sport. I've
Thank you.
taken a lot of pointers from you myself
Thank you.
on the way to speak, how to interview people, so on and so forth. So it's
Well,
really
I
cool.
appreciate that, and you know, I think, you know, rising tide lifts all ships, and I'm talking about friendships, and that's what's important to me, man. Like I would not be here if it wasn't for, you know, here physically right now, Chris Stewart and Grid
Yeah.
Life, you know, Jabe, this whole machine, and obviously Formula Drift, Ryan Sage and Jim Lau. You know, work with Snap-on Tools. I work with Hot Wheels. You know, I've worked with Harley Davidson. You know, I did the voiceover for Need for Speed Pro Street. You know, so I had a dude earlier like, dude, I grew up listening to you. You know, Ryan Cooper's been killing it all day. So like, whenever I say that, like, did you play Need for Speed Pro Street?
I did. I wasn't a big video game kid
Okay.
growing up. I didn't like video games that much.
That's cool.
So
Are you BMX
I played
kid?
it a little bit. Yeah, I did like BMX more than
The plugs
skateboarding.
gave it away. The earplug.
Damn it.
No, it's all, I wanted plugs so bad.
They're addicting, dude.
Yeah, I'm
so
sure.
addicting. It's just like tattoos.
Yeah, I wanted them, and yeah, when you take them out, it looks like cat buttholes. So I love that, like, right, Cal.
If you don't go any bigger than this, they normally shrink up pretty
Oh,
small to where it's not really just a hole. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I remember Brandon Boyd from Incubus had them. Like, those are cool. I'm like, and then I got earrings, but yeah, now I just tattooed. Where I think
Cover it
I'll
up.
get one later from what's his name's lady? Yeah.
Ross?
So, yeah.
We were just talking about
Let's
that.
go. Let's go get
Her
one.
artwork's
You
crazy.
getting Circle of Drift or something?
I'll do it. I'm not joking. I'll do it. But yeah.
That's good.
Well, speaking of drivers, my last question on that stuff for you. Who has impressed you the most over, say, this year, or you feel deserves some credit?
Obviously, Castro most recently at the tip of my tongue. Just actually producing, almost getting a podium in Atlanta, getting the podium finally. Hero's a no-brainer just because he's so young. Love Amanda and what she's doing. But also I got to give it up for Chris Forsberg. Like, just banging away. He's a day oneer. It's really hard, man. But Ben Hobson, I love him, and it's just the scenario. It's the marriage of car and human coming together, and I love marketing. If I call it airplane conversations. If I fly a lot, so I get upgraded, right? and I'll get upgraded. I'm sitting up there, and I'll sit next to somebody. First of all, I always think they're older than me, and then I'm usually older than them. And then they're like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, where are you going? Airplane convos. And I go, oh, if I want to make it short conversation, I don't want to talk. I'm in sales. Oh, where? I'm like, automotive. Because at the end of the day, I'm selling a good time. I'm selling an experience. I'm educating. I'm selling Formula Drift, or I'm selling Grid Life, or whatever. And then when I go deeper into drifting, motorsports. So at the end of the day, I'm selling. I like marketing, and I like selling people, and I like selling the story, and actions speak louder than words. I just put an exclamation point on it. That's where I'm at.
Hell yeah.
So
I like that.
It's really cool, man. So. Again, something like with what you're doing and how you're doing it. There's another saying I have. It's kind of my motto for 2025. Again, I golf a lot, and I'm a member at a country club. Your hat has to be forward. Your shirt has to be tucked in. It has to be collared. No denim. No cargo pants. All that. But you can have your own steez. You can have your own swag. You can have your own vibe, right? Because there's a lot of alt golf brands, if it's Malbin or Students or Metalwood or Quiet Golf, right? So anyways, kind of going off subject here, but the reason is you can be respectfully disruptive. Know the sandbox. Know the wood. You're a kid playing with, pails and dump trucks. Play within those confines. Build your castle. Knock it down. Rebuild it. Do that shit. Respectfully disruptive. And, it's another kind of motto. And I think that, that's where FD or drifting is. Know the boundaries, know that we got to play by the rules, but know those. I just can picture as a kid that sandbox, that kind of wood, a little smoothed out. Seen some things. I'm seeing those little sand bees you play with.
You may find something random every once in a while.
Some random, a tooth. You find a tooth in there. You know what I mean? Some kid had it coming. Bam! Shut up, Tommy. You know what I'm saying? But be respectfully disruptive. So. As you can tell, I kind of dance around the question and I get back to it. I think everybody, man, and it sounds super cliche, but anybody putting in work, blood, sweat, gears, and beers, man, whatever you put into it, I see it, and like I said, might not have the best relationship with everybody, but I have a relationship with everybody, and it goes both ways. It's a revolving door.
That's great.
I'm here, and I'm able and willing to be a cog in your machine, meaning that I can, where it's I just want to help everybody, man. That's, including my son, my sons, but my 18-year-old son, he's going to school for journalism and media, and he just got off a Disney college internship. He's at 18, he's got, Rockstar on his resume because he did some events with them. He did an event for Hot Wheels that I couldn't make in Atlanta. Yeah, man.
And he's trying to aspire to kind of do what you're doing.
Yeah, and forge his own ground. I don't think it's nepotism by any means. It's just a fast pass, and Larry Chen and I talk about that all the time, the access to entry. I mean, I'm going back to Goodwood again. I'm excited. That's erasable pen right now, and I love that event. It's probably the #1 event in the world, dude. Goodwood Festival Speed. It's incredible.
Well, I just finally got my passport and stuff.
Congratulations.
So I'm about ready to get out of this country and go see some stuff.
Come to Mad Mike's Summer Bash, dude. December.
Right?
First weekend of December, dude. That event's amazing.
Let me know. I'll try.
Book a ticket. It's there. It's happening. I don't know what to tell you. I'll tell you where it's at, where to be. I'll be there. And yeah, So yeah, going over there, but
Sick, dude.
yeah, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta ask, what would your advice be for me and the podcast and what I have going on moving forward?
I kind of have a package spiel for anybody that is aspiring in either automotive or just has a brand. It could be golf, it could be cars, it could be art or music. And my ethos over the last, I'd say, 10 years is be honest with your lover, your friend, your enemies, because you never have to think about what you said. You could be inebriated out of your gourd. You could be sober as a kite, whatever. Be honest with yourself and with whoever you hang out with. Be humble. You're part of the equation. Everybody thinks they're self-made is getting high on their own supply. You need, your girlfriend to run audio. You need your homies to help support you. Like, smash, swipe that button, whatever you got to do, right? So be honest, be humble. You're part of the equation, the cog in the machine. Under promise, over deliver. If you say you're going to do something, go a little further. For me, it's like, okay, I'm hosting the Baja 1000 with my crew. Carry sticks, carry things, do that. Part of the team, right? Again, another cog in the machine. Under promise, over deliver. That's something I learned working at Enterprise Rent-A-Car for a year and a half. I wore shirt and tie for a year and a half. I had to shave every day,
Selling cars. I learned that quick.
Yeah, there you go. And you learn a lot about yourself and how to sell, how to engage, how to interact, what not to do. I tell my oldest son all the time, you'll learn more from a bad boss than you will do a good boss. Yeah. You'll learn more from a bad boss than you will a good boss because you learn what not to do, And no offense to anybody who puts their kid on a leash. If you have your kid on a leash, man, should you have kids? You know what I mean?
Don't put your kid on a leash. That's fucking weird.
I don't know. Sorry if any of my friends have their kids on a leash right now. I apologize for listening to this. That's just my perspective. Weird. Be honest, be humble, under promise, over deliver, and do you, Dawson. Because you do Dawson better than anybody else does Dawson in the world. Circle Drift. There's only one Jarod in the world. Do me, because I do me better than anybody else in the world.
So sick.
So
man.
It's all the permeations, all the DNA, and all the fingerprints you've had on you over the years equates to where you are now. And the opportunity to have this conversation and get education or mistakes that helps your product grow. Don't water the weeds. But at the same time, the most fruitful produce and the most beautiful flowers grow from shit, aka fertilizer. So sometimes you need a little shit to make things look good, and it smell better, taste better, and all that. Because fertilizer, even though it's shit, helps you out.
Dude, you're crazy, man. I love it. You've always got a saying for everything. It seems now.
Thank you. I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's. I'm very humbled to be where I'm at and provide for my family. And provide for others, and I'm always for hire, so don't worry. Kids parties, bat mitzvahs, quinceañeras. I'm half Mexican. I'm like the Taco Bell Mexican though. I do love me some T-Bell. Taco Bell, hit me up. Let's go.
Oh my God. Hey, we need that in drifting. Let's do it. Yeah, I'm in.
Go. Dude, my boy works at In-N-Out. I don't know why I haven't got an In-N-Out sponsorship. I bought everybody In-N-Out for our 20th anniversary a couple years ago.
Shit.
But yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, I think you do a good job, and I would just say, even though I have that package spiel, specifically to you, is be honest, there's no dumb question. You're speak, and that's my question to you, is who do you want to listen to your podcast? Because you have to think about who is your demographic, what is your ROI, what is your CTA, what's your return on investment, what's your call to action, what's your follow through, what's the clickbait? Because, early on, it's like, again, I'm not slamming your other co-host. He was good. He had an opinion. He was opinionated at that. And not saying that you're not. I would just say that if you're going to create a polarization in any scenario, you have to back it up. And if you're going to create clickbait, follow through. Because if you don't, I'm not going to make that call anymore, dog. Meaning I'm not going to watch that video. You're giving me, soft pudding, brother. Like, that ain't cutting it. You know what I mean? If you say you're gonna serve me steak and you give me a hamburger, bro, I'm not coming back to the table.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So because if you don't follow through, and you don't need all bangers, because if you're always up here, you'll never, like, the darkness makes the colors that much more vivid, and meaning that's both like emotionally, mental health awareness, all that shit. Obviously, I don't say shit, but it's like we all have lows, but the lows make the highs that much more vibrant. So, like I said, they can't all be bangers. They can't all, okay, great. You fucking interview Elon or Trump or fucking Zuck or Joe Rogan or fucking, stand-up comedian, like whatever, whoever is on your pedestal. Talk to the average Joe, like fucking Craig here. Hey, Craig, how we doing, bro? It's Craig, right? Close. Chris. Damn it. All right. Greg.
That was
Greg.
just a random person,
I know,
right?
dope. Yeah, it was just random.
Okay, I was
don't know.
like, wait.
But
you
he's got a
know?
story. What's dude's story? He's got a Titleist, like homeboy here. He's got New Balance, socks are here. He's got Oakley's on, bleached
You're
hair,
getting
so
called
athlete.
out.
And these dudes, yeah. I'm just looking at their fit. I'm seeing what's going on here. These guys, they all had a bleach fest last night. Okay. Got Zed's Dead shirt on, so they came for the music and the
Hell
cars because
yeah.
he's got a Chelsea shirt on. Homeboy's more of a music cat, and he kind of splits the difference. He's got he's TJ fan. He's a TJ fan. So there we go. And those kids have a story. Why are they into cars? Why are they here? Why is Grid Life the perfect one? Demographically speaking, or geographically speaking, where are they coming from? How far they drive? What's their story? Where are they at? Who do they not know about? How can you open that can and be like, whoa, I've never seen that? Because you'll never know it all. You'll never know it all. You go to a car show, you'll never know it all, dog. You won't. And you see that random obscure car, all you got to do is ask the owner. Guess who knows more about that car than anybody? That owner. Hey, excuse me, sir. Tell me about your car. Boom. And that's a beautiful can of worms. And you just collect all the worms. Get all the worms going, baby. You'll never know it all. It's that Harry Potter library. You see all the, paint that AI picture, that library that's really ornate. It's got the ladders that slide, towers of books. You'll never read all those books.
Hell no.
Well, you can grab a homie or somebody. Oh, hey, do you know this? Do you know that? All you got to do is ask.
Well, seriously, thank you for your perspective.
I don't know if I gave you any information other than just
No, you gave
whatever.
great advice. You gave good
Yeah, but
perspective on FD.
I want somebody have a scathing something like hot top. I don't know. I'm always like, what are people gonna ask? Because again,
I don't want to be that guy. It's not,
I want you to be that guy.
It's not my place to.
I want
bring
you to
up
be.
drama.
That is your place. That is your place.
Christ.
What's a banging hot top like? Why do you always give Chris Forsberg
What is the
win?
last call in FD that you did not agree with?
Gosh, there was one most recently. Honestly, I don't think it should have gone to the third one more time in Atlanta. I think Osbo should have won against James Dean in that second battle.
Ooh, yeah.
And
and
that was the split. That was where we thought we had the winner, but Reese did the one more time, so it was like, Vernon was James, Brian was Freddie, and Reese went one more time. And I don't think it should have gone one more time. I thought Frederick won on that second battle, and it went to the third battle, the second one more time, and James Dean eventually won.
Do you think there will ever be anything to normalize the judgment?
I don't want that human emotion taken out of it. I think we can have more assistance as far as tech and tools, and they're getting there. But I don't think it'll be 100% solely just that. I think it needs to have the human element to it.
I would agree, but
why?
Yeah, why?
Just because that's the spirit of it. Why? I mean, at the end of the day, baseball has been around 100 years. And the strike zone, we could see all the technology. Umps don't need to be there.
That's fair.
What
about skateboarding? It's all based off of number generate.
Yeah, skateboarding's number generated, but you still have emotions to it on the pop and the stomping of that amplitude or that execution. The way Nyjah skates versus Jamie Foy. I love Jamie Foy. He's a big dude. He's dense, and he just stomps it. Versus what's the Japanese dude that kills it on Nike? He's just ill. But then you look at Bucky Lassick compared to Bob back in the day. Bucky's my homeboy. Look at Hawks
shout out to
compared
him.
to this.
He's into racing and stuff.
Is Bucky here?
I think
No.
he is. He was
in
doing Grid
Atlanta.
Life stuff.
He was in Atlanta.
He was at South Carolina too. I think
Yeah.
he's doing a full Grid Life series.
But I think this weekend is the big show. I think it's the big Subi show. I saw Subi Mods is here, and
Yeah.
So, anyways, all that being said is, I don't think technology. I don't think we're beholden to that. I think it could complement human judging and the criteria and the emotion of it, but I don't think it'll be independently tech.
Why haven't y'all incorporated the race trends or whatever that device is that goes on top of the car?
There's homeboy in Australia that's developing a pretty good one, tip to tail. I can't remember the name of it. He does a good job, and I think it's just still in the gym. I think they're still working on it. It's not 100%.
Oh, okay.
So I don't
In
think
what ways though? Like just
it was like it would go off and it would
glitchy?
like glitch and it would, because basically put in what I saw in Australia, Keep It Re, it was like setting the parameters of vehicle, get the center, an S13 is this, a Laurel is that, so as far as the pure database being inputted and then taking into consideration clips and zones and all that, it's a lot. It's a lot. And again, this is a passion project. You know what I mean? Because then, okay, you build it, then you got to sell it. How much does it cost? How many people can invest into that? How many people can afford it? So
that's what I don't think a lot of people that are watching and seeing that and complaining about the judgment in FD and Drift Masters, they're like, why don't they just incorporate it in FD? Just do it. It's they say it's fucking great and it's exact and like, but there's a lot more variables. I'm sure that one device costs. I don't even want to know.
Oh, it's expensive.
It's beyond me.
And how much is man hours?
Yeah, true. Yeah. And then getting it perfectly centered every time. That's gotta suck.
Yeah, I think tech will be a complement still to. I don't want human judging to be taken out of drifting.
Yeah.
I don't. I did Red Bull Drift Shifters, which was the fun event with Mad Mike. We did 2 in New Zealand, and then 1 eventually in Liverpool before COVID. And that was. Did you see those? The pinball type ones. That technology, it was good. It wasn't flawless. There were some glitches to that, but it was fun. It was cool. It's in the spirit of drifting for sure. Is it competitive drifting? It can be probably refined. I think of some of the obstacles and the technology where we're at in 2025 compared to, 2019, 2018, I think it was. We did Liverpool. That was the last one ever, and there's rumors of Mike hopefully getting Red Bull Drift Shifters back, or Drift Shifters in general. That'd be great, but there's technology being used, and it's still not completely, hermetically sealed. It's still a little bit of leaks here and there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, on the topic of judging driving, is there anyone in the field of FD still that you think probably doesn't deserve to still be in FD?
I think if you're fighting every time, I can't name names. That's just
I'm not asking you specifically. Just details.
I think that if you're comparing it to like Monster Jam, if you go to a Monster Jam show, when was the last time you went to a Monster Jam, like Monster Trucks? Okay,
I've never been.
You should go. It's fun.
I've always wanted to. I just never worked.
And seeing other sports is healthy. Not only for me, it's like announcing, presentation, run of show. Shoot, they have a halftime because they just want you to go spend $20 on a shaved ice and a mug your kid will never use again. I'm speaking from experience, but
tell me how I know all that.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, but Monster Jam has a field of drivers everybody's in. I think we just need to lock it in at 32 for pro, 32 for pro spec, and you're in the show. There's no qualifying. I think it's seeding pending on that. That way, I like the seeding bracket format, like the new format that we do, as opposed to qualifying.
How so? Real quick.
Because it's the essence of it, and I think you got to. It as far as the show goes, it's what drifting is, and we've evolved into from dial judging to 5 judges to having media to former drivers to organizers. I think we're in a good place right now, but. Drivers that shouldn't compete shouldn't be fighting for their life every round.
Yeah.
Anybody that should be in the show, unfortunately, I just think I don't. Again, not naming names. There's nobody that I think is like got to go now. And that's what I love about drifting too. Is like a dark horse could come out of nowhere and just really fire in all cylinders. Why is Castro in Orlando? Why is Castro do so well in Orlando? Why is Orlando look good on Castro? I don't know, but here's, Jack Shanahan, never driven a bank, never driven in Atlanta, he had a flub in Atlanta, but he's got a good attitude, and that's why I say you got to win before you show up. So not only are you fighting for that championship or fighting for a win, okay, cool, you get a championship, then what? Do you think the door is going to be broken down? You still got to do work, you know what I mean? Like, when Daigo won the championship, there wasn't a lot of noise. It was like, okay, he won. Then what? You know, and then like, you know, banged away and then left, and now he's back. And, you know, Daigo and his formula, he's like, I want to drive a loud V8, you know, but Jerry Yang's the Nissan guy. So it's like, all right, build him a VK craziness. I don't know, like, you know, so, but I love Daigo. He's a very obviously talented driver, but for him, where he's at, I feel like might be a little snooze for him, you know, because he likes loud kind
I
of
would
obnoxious.
agree with that. It's been,
Again, not knocking the car, not knocking
Yeah.
Daigo. I think that marriage right there, I think we need to get him a loud-ass, wonky, weird car, quirky
so that's
car.
kind of where my head is at. So I see a lot of people that complain. I'm, again, not going to name any names, but there's some drivers in FD that people complain about,
Right.
saying they shouldn't be in anymore, da-da-da-da. When I think, I'm, again, not trying to, like, point a specific person out,
Right.
but there are some very unique cars in drifting, or FD, that are not very good drift cars, specifically, that I think hinders a lot of drivers.
Okay.
So,
Well, I think I'm going to step on you here real quick.
sorry.
No, I'm purposely going to stop you there because I think when it becomes, I don't want to say a liability, but when you go against a car and you're like, I don't know if the car is going to do what.
Yeah.
If I'm a competitor and I go against another car where I'm like, I don't know what to expect. You have a spotter, you have all the tools, you have all the assets, you have all the investment, emotionally, monetarily, all the respect, and you go against a car, you're like, I don't know how this car is going to react going in here. And I've watched your spotter has given you all the information, and you're like, let's see. That might be the time to be like, hey dude, I gotta pull your card. That would be the only consideration. Again, I don't think there's anybody there, because again, you asked about the relationship. So 1-2 punching that, I would say that there are drivers that love it and have the emotion, and they could have their day, they could have their moment when it comes together. And also, they're winning before they show up. They might have support that is follow through off the course, or you know, off the track, as opposed to, you know, being on track. You know, they have ancillary things that really helps, you know, encapsulate their whole program. It's not just about FD. That's a component. It might be 25% of the whole program.
So yeah, do you think it's just them being buried in a brand deal or anything like
Could
that,
be.
to where they can't get out of that car? Or?
I mean, that's on them, because at the end of the day, the phone's not going to ring if you tarnish that, and if you have a good sponsor and good support, and you're getting paid, and you don't have that ROI. Just back to my pillars of what I believe in, of honesty, humility, under promise, over deliver, and doing you. If you sell snake oil, nobody's going to come back to that table. If you're, like I said, if you're selling steak and you serve me a hamburger, I mean, nobody's going to order off your menu again. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's true, yeah.
And that's purely on them.
Yeah.
And you know, when I announce, I try to be positive with every scenario, and sometimes you just got to be like, ugh, not the prettiest, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And like, that was about Mad Mike, and that angle, I called it, and da-da-da, and like, do you know what I'm talking about when I say not the prettiest? That was Mad Mike's
Maybe.
entry in Atlanta, and I said, not the prettiest, and then you roll the tape back, and he had dope
yes.
angle, so I always say, not the prettiest, because it like, at first glance, didn't look the prettiest, and Mike's a great friend of mine. Like, I've known him for 15 years. And I look back, I was like, okay, it's cool. It wasn't hideous, but it wasn't the prettiest. But like, they're like, this is like, when people repost it like years later, like, this announcer's dumb. I'm like, I know, right? Like,
Yeah, fuck that guy.
that guy sucks. Like, what a tool. I love when people talk shit. Like, I was flying the other day, and this kid, like, I was like, dude, I had it worse. My son and I flying home from Orlando. It was so bad. I vented because, admittedly, a lot of these companies, like, a U-Haul truck blew up on me 5 years ago, and I was like an hour from nowhere, and I was like, and I tagged them, and U-Haul said, we got you. They took care of it, right? So I'm a 1.5 million flyer with American Airlines, and I back up American Airlines. I take my sunglasses off when I board a plane and say, hey, how are you? Talk to the flight attendant. How are you? Oh, are you a Dallas-based crew, Chicago-based crew? Where are you based? Because I fly a lot, right? And I could be sitting in the back and all that stuff. But I tagged American Airlines, like, this has been really bad. Not like many different levels. Disrespectful, not listening, got this, got that. Anyways, and this guy's like, boo-hoo, like, just commented. I was like, I know, poor me. know. But you
I'm
don't know
gonna
how
cry.
much I fly. You don't know how inconvenient that is. Like, you know, like it's when you fly and get used to something, or if that's your commuting, which is, I mean, I'm at 60,000 miles flying this year already. Here we are in
God
June.
bless, man.
You know, but that's my commuting and that's my travel.
How do you
that's
balance
my office.
life?
My 11-year-old's right there.
Well, yeah, but like, I mean, they're
Uh,
here and enjoying it, but like, dude, you travel. I mean, I'm starting to feel it as well. I'm gone every weekend,
Yeah.
and like, how do you balance it?
I would just say, you know, communication, zenith. You know, my wife and I, happily married for 23 years, I think 23 years. My wife works in the industry. When I met her, I wasn't, you know, we met in '99, but we met at SEMA show. So she works in the automotive industry. And then, like I said, just communication. Level of like, hey, where are you? What's going on? I'm not doing good. I'm kind of low. I'm this, like, you know, and again, I'm surrounded by all my friends, but sometimes I'm all alone. So it's meeting people where they're at and people meeting me where I'm at, and also checking on a mate, dude. Like, hey, how are you? Yeah, and again, showing my kids an example sometimes what not to do. You know, what not to do, you know? Like, admittedly, I haven't said this publicly a lot, but I'm on the non-alcoholics. I'm on the NA. So if you've seen a beer in my hand as of January 1, 2025, it's been an NA.
No way.
Yeah. So
Congrats, dude. That's
and it's not,
awesome.
I'm not sober. Like, I'll have sips.
Yeah,
you know, I'll
yeah.
have a drink here and there. I flew to Australia, New Zealand, went on a golfing trip, all NAs. Had a sip of bourbon, had a sip of beer.
Yeah, but
you
you
know, had a glass of
regulate it.
wine, my, you know, celebration with my wife or something. But
That's
if you
awesome.
see me with a beer, this is NA. So I'm looking for an NA beer sponsor. That's what I want, honestly, because
Heineken.
everybody knows me as Beer Wolf. So, you know.
I've seen Heineken sponsor a few creators.
Yeah,
with the
I don't.
non-alcoholic.
Heineken's are the worst NAs out there, so I don't want that one.
Rats, there you cut that out.
I just grenaded that one. But no, there's a company called Rational that's really good. Best Day, you know, Athletics decent. There's some bomb ones out there. So
Huh.
yeah, Bureau.
Seriously, congrats, that's fucking awesome.
I want to get linked up with Tom Holland. He has one. Tom Holland has one called Bureau. The actor Spider-Man. It's called Bureau, like zero, and he has some
What
bomb
the
ones.
hell?
So and he golfs a lot. So Tom Holland, holler at me.
Hey, you tag
Yeah.
him in the comments for him.
Tag Tom Holland. Let's get a Bureau thing going. I'll smoke you. I'll smoke you at golf, because he's a good golfer.
If I win, you got a sponsor.
Yeah, well, that's it. Tom Holland, I challenge you to a duo. Yeah, let's do it.
We'll vlog the whole thing. I
Yeah,
swear.
we'll vlog it. It's all good.
That's awesome, man.
But yeah, as far as traveling and management, it's just education and communication.
Good.
And yeah, me not drinking, I'm getting up early. When I saw you at Hyperfest, like, I was coming from Wisconsin and doing Snap-on work, went and golfed, flew out of Chicago at 6 a.m. to land at Raleigh-Durham at 8, went and golfed, went to Virginia, Hyperfest, Friday, Saturday, flew out Sunday, 6 a.m. out of Raleigh-Durham, flew home, was home Sunday afternoon, drove up to Los Olivos, golfed with my buddy, caddied for my buddy 3 days, came home, went to another event. Yeah, man. But, you know,
All
T-Bone
over.
here. Want to say hi?
You can come in. Yeah,
Say hurry, run. Just say hi real
yeah.
quick.
Run, Forrest, run.
Everybody sees T-Bone anyway, so right? There you go. But
It's the man.
yeah, T-Bone and my oldest son Parker, he's cruising around. So yeah.
It's awesome.
But yeah, just, you know, when I'm home, be intentional, and he can come watch me golf. That's it, right?
dude. Come bug you.
That's all I
I'm just
do.
here to bug you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome,
And
man.
T-Bone's got a sim. We gotta get a computer for it, but he's
Oh yeah, dude,
got a
that's
sim cooking.
that Sim's changing the game, man. Obviously, Manoa, like you were mentioning,
dude.
it's incredible to see some of the drivers that are being produced out of that.
Yeah.
And like me myself with Sim HQ, I just got a full
I saw
Sim
that.
Magic setup finally, and dude, that's a real car. It's a
Nuts.
real car with no G-force.
Right.
Straight up.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I could brag about that all day,
No,
but
that's what you're
like,
doing. Again, Sim HQ supports you. That's dope.
yeah. Like for the drivers that you're seeing coming up, how like is it affecting the field?
Oh, absolutely.
As far as skill level,
Yeah.
like rapidly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's another tool in the toolbox, man. You know, Manoa he's practicing E-Town right now. You know what I mean? 15 years old. You know, I don't even want to tell you what I was doing when I was 15 years old. You know what I mean? Like, and this kid's at the gym, metaphorically. He's in the car gym, dude.
It's so cool to see all of his family driving, dude. Like they're all in a room just driving online
But
together.
it's, what stand-up comedian was it where he's like, I think it was I think it was Andrew Santino. He talks about the one Danish girl, like, how dare you, you know, that girl, you know what I'm talking about, and yeah. He just talks, he's like, how dare you, like, you haven't paid a parking ticket, you don't pay taxes, how dare you, like, I'm joking because Hero's 15 years old and he can afford that, yeah, meaning like he has the time, he doesn't have a lot of life experience, but if you could do that,
dude, still
I want that for everybody. If that's for you or for my kids or whatever, if you can afford doing that, do that, brother.
That's so funny.
And you know, I always think about. I think there was a book like The X Factor, right? And it was something about like, you know, the talent that could have been, right? Like basically, LeBron James was in this and did that, right? Justin Bieber was singing on the church steps in Canada in his hometown, and Scooter Braun walks by, finds him, calls Usher, gets Justin Bieber on the thing. Elvis Presley, the right time, the right this, the Beatles coming into America, the just success, right? The book The Secret. It's like success and solving that problem, right? That's success. Success is the solution, the problem, fixing it. That's the secret, right? Like opportunity, fixing that, doing that, boom. Like it could be a voice, it could be driving. So I think that Hero has the perfect opportunity. He was 14 years old, now 15. He has, you know, he's being homeschooled. He has the access to cars. He has, like, I was talking to homeboy at Radium, and he's like, oh, so he's riding your coattails? I said, no, he's not riding my coattails. He's absolutely utilizing all his resources. You know, why wouldn't you? That's not nepotism. If you're in politics, yeah, my dad, do you know who my dad is? You don't need to tell me that. Just don't keep my name out your mouth. I wouldn't want Parker or Tyson to be like, do you know who my dad is? No, don't do that. Just be like, hey, I'm Tyson DeAnda. I'm you know, if there's a problem, then you could drop my name. Hey, I'm Jarod DeAnda's son.
Right.
Don't just be like, do you know who my daddy is? You're like, yeah, he's a dick. Get out of here. You know, I'd rather.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Straight up. Utilize your resources, whatever resources you have. And again, my nephew had a quote for me, and he's 28, and he's always at a thirst for knowledge. And he said something to me that I thought really resonated. I thought was cool. Go for the no. Go for the no. Keep asking until you get the no. Keep asking until you get the no. There's no dumb question, and just be like, hey, you know, I was thinking, like, you know, Circle of Drift, you guys need more exposure or something like that. Like, oh, that's not a bad idea, you know, or hey, can I help you do this? Or until you say no, like, no, we're good. Okay, cool, got it.
Yeah. I fight with that myself.
Go for the no.
Yeah, that's that voice in the back of your head. It fights you.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's.
But again,
keep going
full
for
circle. Just because you don't, you know, just because you're quiet doesn't mean you're not listening. You know, and just because you make the most noise doesn't mean you're right. You know, and that's come from me. I'm big, dumb, loud, hairy, tattooed, scary to some, but I fought twice in my life, dude.
Is there anything for Formula Drift, I guess, that's coming up in the next year that we can look forward to, or anything changing?
Yeah,
I've heard of some rumors of some changes.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much open knowledge that obviously, one, we're going back to Long Beach, which I'm excited about. It's unfortunate that Irwindale's not around, but it is what it is. I always like, all right, glass half full. Parking's a shit show there, so I'm glad that's going away. Long Beach is built for this. Yeah. We're good, so we bookend it. Round 1, round 8. You know, it's going to be great. 2 pieces of Long Beach bread.
I'd love to keep Atlanta.
What's that?
I'd love to keep Atlanta.
Atlanta's, I
hope that never goes away.
1, you can't tear it down.
Fair.
2, it could go BK, but you know, I think they're in a good place. I don't know money-wise or anything like that, but obviously, you know, Petit Le Mans is going there. You know, they have 2-wheel racing. They have a lot. And then I love Seattle. I love Evergreen, Monroe, Washington. You should come to that one. That's probably, I would say Atlanta's number 1. Seattle's probably number 2.
Really?
Yeah, just because it's just a good little bit of granola. The fans know enough. The track is really, really difficult. Big bank, like the viscosity of the track is it just eats up the tires. You really got to bring your Leatherman there, like big, and then it gets technical towards the end. Good battles. I don't love St. Louis. You know, just it's pretty straightforward. I'd like to see a bank at Jersey. I think that E-Town should
agree.
add a bank on the back, like do a short
Yeah.
little
Oh,
that would be
yes.
sick, which
would
would
be
add some
nice.
diversity. Yeah, as far as what tracks we keep or drop, that's TBD.
Yeah.
I'm a hired consultant, so I don't
You're
put
not
my
fully
opinion.
on the
I
ends?
don't put my opinion totally out there.
Yeah.
But I give respect where respect is due.
So-
Yeah, as they say, you don't shit where you eat. So I don't shit where I eat.
Absolutely.
But I'm super thankful for Ryan Sage, Jim Lau for giving me the opportunity. Again, 22 years ago, and onward and upward. And like I said, I just want everybody to congratulate, not hate, and have fun, man.
Absolutely.
Check on your mates, have fun, and have a good time. Send it, as the kids say.
There you go. Well, I really appreciate you making the time, man. Is there anything that you wanted to still share on your behalf, or anyone you want to shout out, anything like that?
Yeah, thank you to Formula Drift. Thank you to Snap-on Tools. Thank you to Hot Wheels, anybody who employs me, and that could be anybody and everybody. But also thank you to you for Circle of Drift, for having your voice and having me on. And, of course, thank you to my lovely wife and my kids for supporting me. And, I'm not making content outside of just at Jarod DeAnda on Instagram, and let's have some fun.
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, dude.
Thank you.
It's awesome. I'm sure we'll catch up again sometime
Yeah,
soon.
man. Again, I know this has been a long time coming.
Let me
but
know if we should do like an actual full-length sit-down studio episode.
I'm
Or
down.
something like that.
I'm down. You can come to my crib. You come out to Long Beach.
Yeah.
Come out and jump in the pool. We did, I know Jacob with Outer Zone did one at my house with Larry Chen. I popped in shirtless, so you never know.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, cool, dude. Well, I'll let you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, brother.
And I know we've been chatting for a while now.
Yeah.
It's probably over an hour for sure.
It's all good.
But-
Really?
Oh, easy. Easy. I went like 45 minutes with Adam from
sick.
one of the co-founders here at
Yeah.
Good Life.
Adam
It's
Jabay.
so easy. It felt like 15 minutes. so.
Jabay. Yeah, he's good. He's
Yeah.
great. And again, there's people like that exist that don't make a lot of noise that move the needle in a great way. And again, Chris Stewart, he's like, dude, just come hang out. I'm not even announcing, I'm not working, I'm not shooting videos. I'm like, let me know. He's like, I know it's hard, but just hang out. I was like, okay. So I'm smoking
glad I got to
cigar.
fill some of your shoe time, That's great, then.
No, it's all good, dude.
Well, hell yeah,
You're not
man.
taking my fucking job. You're not taking my fucking job.
Oh, we're good here. We're good here.
Yeah,
Got my
I'll
own
fight
thing.
you. I'll fucking fight you. Look at, I fought now 3 times. Just kidding. Yeah, that's another one. Everybody's talking shit. Just come see. I'm just kidding. Say it to my face. Yeah.
All right, dude. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
dude.
it, brother.
No,
Let's
thank
catch
you.
up again sometime
Yes,
soon.
please. Thank you.
Stacking way up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Hit home runs, I'm a ball like Jeter. I just want fuck, then I leave. I'm a young pop star, call the boy Justin Bieber. Got a little money if you want, I can teach you. Whole life a movie, you can watch it in theater. Stacking way up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch